Hello, BI109, John Acts class. Welcome to week number 6 in our class. We are glad you are taking the class, and we're hopefully you're learning something from the book of John right now. So, I encourage you to do that. Last week we had the discussion board. Please, if you have not, please post your discussion board and your replies on your how does St. John chapters 18 and 19, the crucifixion, sacrifice of Jesus, affect you and influence your life? Please make sure you turn in assignments on time. Beulah Heights University has a policy on late assignments, late work, and we want to adhere to those policies. Make sure your assignment's on time. That's half the battle for any class. Any class you'll ever take in college, half the battle is turning assignments in on time. This week, you'll read from the scriptures, St. John chapter 20 and St. John chapter 21, the final two chapters on the book of John. It talks about St. John chapter 20, talks about the post-resurrection ministry of Jesus. There's the foot race between Peter and John in chapter 20, verses 3 through 10. Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene, chapter 20, verses 11 through 18. Jesus appears to the 10 disciples. Of course, Judas had committed suicide. Thomas was not present in chapter 20, verse 19 and 20. Of course, then Thomas comes in there and sees it, and faith at rest on sight. Jesus then appears to the 11 on chapter 20, John chapter 20, verse 26 through 28. And then, of course, it's the purpose of John's gospel is written, chapter 20, verse 30 through 31. Chapter 21, the third appearance of Jesus to the apostles, the fishing trip and its failure. John chapter 21, verses 1 through 3, powerful 3 verses. The cast, Jesus tells them to cast out into the deep. Chapter 21, verses 4 through 6. They get a whole bunch of fish. Then there's the recognition by John. Chapter 21, verse 7. Chapter 21, verses 8 through 14. The catch was landed, and the recognition by all his disciples. And of course, chapter 21, verses 15 through 19 talks about when Jesus asked Peter 3 times to feed the lambs. Do you love me? Feed my lambs. Do you love me? Feed my lambs. Then Peter, of course, being Peter, chapter 21, verses 20 through 23, asked, what does John have to do? And of course, in the last 2 verses of John, St. John 21, verses 24 and 25, the authorship of John and the closing remarks of the book. Of course, 2 chapters is all you have to read this week. And in this book, which will be the last part of this book, plus you got all the vocabulary, the glossary, you will read pages 139 through 169 and write volume 2. That will finish the book. So your readings will be done. This week, we have a 100-point assignment. Pay attention. Get this in on the deadline for this Sunday. A 100-point assignment for week number 6. List of characters in John and their profiles, like short biographies on various characters in the book of John. For this assignment, you will write at least 2 pages on at least 3 characters. 2 total pages on at least 3 characters in the book of John. And with that, you will write on these characters. Your paper will also have a title page, at least 2 pages, and then the biography page. The title page, the 2-page paper on at least 3 characters in the book of John, plus a bibliography. This list of characters and their profiles, students, which is you, will complete a 2-page paper on those characters for the book of John. It's worth 100 points, which is 10% of your grade. They are to be at least 2 pages long, double spaced with a 12-point font. The papers must explain the main characters. Remember, there's 3, or choose at least 3. and what happened to them in the text. Some event to possibly tell are how did Jesus change them? How did their life impact the world? What miracles happened to them in the scripture? And reference the textbook or other scholarly sources. Your textbooks, there's 2 of them, part 1 and part 2. Reference these textbooks or other scholarly sources at least 4 times, and give at least 6 references of scripture. Use Turabian style writing. Remember, profiles, at least 3 characters, total 2 pages, title page, 2 pages, reference page. Remember, when you're doing this, reference the textbooks or other scholarly sources at least 4 times, plus scriptures at least 6. Some events are possible. Some events to write about. How did Jesus change them? How did their life impact the world? What miracles happened to them in Scripture? Get them in on time. We want to put assignments in, give assignments in on time. Week number 6. We're moving right along. God bless you. BI109, John X class. Have a great day.